So this is based off the live lab, setting up a departmental data warehouse with Autonomous Data Warehouse and Oracle Analytics Cloud. So the first thing you want to do is provision your Autonomous Data Warehouse instance if you haven't done that. And I have done that here. So what you're going to do is click on this DB connection button and then click download the wallet. There's either a regional wallet or a single instance wallet. And here you can see I've downloaded the instance wallet. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. Give it a password. Very important to remember this password. Downloaded. Okay, we can close that. Next is provisioning our Analytics Cloud instance. So you just want to click Create Instance, give it a name, description if you like, choose the correct compartment, which is just a logical folder inside of Oracle Cloud. I'm going to do Enterprise Analytics, and we're going to stick with one OCPU for demo purposes and license included. And I have created that exact thing here. We're going to want to click on our Analytics Cloud instance, and then click on, and then I want to go to the Analytics homepage. Click on that. That'll get us to the Oracle Analytics Cloud console. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we're going to want to create the connection. So we click on Create in the right-hand corner, top right corner, and then click on Connection. It's going to search for different connection types. Just let it load up real quick. And then we're going to want to select Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse. Connection name, we'll go with Workshop ADW OAC. Description is optional. We'll leave that blank for now. Client credentials. This is where we will drag and drop our wallet. Select. Drag and drop. We're going to use the password that we created for our ADW instance. User is admin. That's always going to be the case. Service name. These are just the different options. We're going to go with the high for now and then click Save. So that was creating the connection from Oracle Analytics Cloud to our Autonomous database, specifically the data warehouse flavor. Next, we are going to prepare our data set. So we're going to click Create in the top right, click on Data Set. And then we're going to want to select our Autonomous Data Warehouse connection that we created in the previous step. Now, in the next window, click on the Schema section. We will see SH, which stands for Sales History for the purposes of this workshop. The SH schema provides a small data set that you can use to run the sample queries in the Oracle database data warehousing guide. So let's drag and drop sales from sh to the canvas. It's going to take a few moments, and we'll see it's loading up on the canvas. We can see all the fields are populating here in the canvas. Next, we're going to want to click on the Sales tab here at the bottom. Then we are going to go to the bottom of the page to edit and prepare the data for the visualizations that we will do in the next task. So all the number type columns from this table are treated as a measure by default. You can check the information in the property section of each table column under the data type section. So what we're going to do is have data type and number and treat as attribute for prod underscore ID, channel underscore ID, and promo underscore ID. We can see here in the property section in the bottom left where we can go to double check that. So for prod ID, click on that column, it auto populates. Treat as data type is number, treat as attribute. Next we can check that for channel ID, attribute number, and then promo ID, attribute number. So we are good to go there. For viewing and or making changes for these fields, select one field at a time, and change measure to attribute the information on the property section of each table column under the data type section. So we're just going to make a few more modifications on the table fields before we build the visualizations. This time we will change the aggregation rule to cust ID from sum to count discount from the columns properties panel in the bottom left. Okay, so we click on cust ID. Aggregation, sum. So we're going to change that to count discount. And then finally we're going to save this data set in the superior portion of this window. So we could click save. And then we're going to do sales history underscore sales. Description optional. Should take a couple moments, and then you can see the data set is added up here in the top left. And then that segues into our final section, which is creating the visualizations using our data sets. So we're going to want to click create workbook. A white canvas, a new screen with a white canvas is open using the sales history underscore sales data set we created. Before drowning into any of the details, I'll give you a quick explanation of the different parts of the screen. This will help you to better follow the next steps that we're going to go through. So an Oracle Analytics project consists of three main parts. You can see them at the top right part of the screen. Data, visualize, and present. Data, here's where you configure your data. You get to preview each data set on the project. You enrich it by adding columns, hiding or renaming the available ones. You can also define joins between data sets here as well. Next is the Visualize tab. Here's where you explore and analyze the data. You can create several canvases to hold the different visualizations that you define. And then finally, Present. Here's where you can create a more presentation-oriented view of the analysis you created. This tab allows you to choose which insights to show and add comments and descriptions. It also helps to understand your analysis journey and focus on showing the results. During this workshop specifically, you will primarily use the Present and Visualize tabs primarily. You have already seen the Prepare screen on previous steps. For now, we'll go to the Visualize tab. The main areas to note here are this Explore menu in the top left. It contains all fields from your data sets to be used in the project. Next, we get the Properties box. If you select it, you can see it pops up in the bottom left. It allows you to find the properties and parameters of the selected object. If it is a column, it will be highlighted in blue. If it's a graphic from the canvas, it'll have a thin blue borderline around it. For the graph definition, this pane right here contains different definitions of the selected visualization, which fields to use and where, specifically the granular specifications of axis, filters, and trellis groups. And then finally, the canvas is your sandbox area. You can place your visuals here. You can also create more canvases and copy and move visualizations around. Okay, so now we're going to step through creating the visualizations for this specific workshop. For now, we're going to want to click on Amounts Sold. And then we're going to change the aggregation rule. Validate the aggregation rule as sum rather. By default, the aggregation value should be sum, but doesn't hurt to double check. Next thing we're going to do is go to time ID, and we'll add a month to our selection. When I will hold the control button and expand the time ID, or just expand it, and select month. Right click of your mouse and select create best visualization. We're going to verify that the information that is showing in the canvas is the following: line values y-axis, we're going to want to select a bar graph, or not, a line graph. We're going to put amounts sold in the y-axis. And then x-axis is our time. Okay, so we have our parameters on the axes. Then we're going to right click on the chart, click add statistics, trend line, now we can see the trend of our data. So therefore we can see that we're trending upwards despite the ups and downs of this very volatile data. And so we're going to go in the properties panel in the bottom left again. And in the trends section, we're going to change 95% to off for the confidence intervals. So just to recap, although we had some up and downs in the totals, you see that the total amount sold has been trending up, meaning our sales are in good shape. We will compare this information, amount sold by time underscore ID, i.e. the month, to our active customer base over time. To find the number of active customers, we will count discount on cust ID on a monthly basis. So we're going to want to select cust ID. Column from the table panel, we modified the aggregation rule to count discount in task 2 of this lab when we prepared the data. Now it's time to use it. So be sure to drag and drop cust ID column to the y-axis section with your mouse in the canvas. So let's go ahead and do that. Be sure it is added amount underscore scold and not to replace it. You should see both of them here. We verified that. Right click on cust ID and select Y2 axis as part of the cust underscore ID details. This results show you that the number of customers is going down, but the amount sold is going up. So we are selling more to less customers, and that is just a sample insight of what Analytics Cloud is capable of conveying in a visual manner. So we will go ahead and save this workbook by clicking the Save Workbook button on the superior part of the screen. So we're just going to give it a name. We're going to go just say visualization. Description optional again. So we're going to want to create a new data set of data to enrich the canvas. So we're going to click this plus button here next to the search, add data set. We're going to want to select add data set. We're going to click create data set. You see the funny quips when Analytics Cloud is loading. It's so fast that you can't even hardly read them. Now we're going to want to click on the schema section. We will use sales history for the purpose of this workshop. Let's go down to SH, expand that. Let's start by analyzing the sales history schema table. So we're going to want to drag and drop products from the HA sales history schema into the white canvas. We're going to wait a few moments for all the fields to populate. This will display the columns available in the products table. And then after this loads, we're going to want to save the data set by clicking the Save Database button again. And And we're going to do just sales history, SH for short, underscore products, description optional. And then again, we're gonna see that it's added in the top left. So next, we're gonna join the two data sets that we created. Our sales history sales and our sales history products. So now we have to so at the bottom of the screen you can see we're gonna have to back out of this. We're going to go into the data pane again to do our joins like I stated earlier. Click on add data set, SH products, add to workbook. Now we've created a relationship between the two data sets connected by prod underscore ID. We can see a number 1 between the data sets. We can find more information about the match between data sets by clicking in the line connecting both of them. A pop-up window appears showing blend data, the blend data screen between the data sets, the join, in this case prod underscore ID as we mentioned before. Now that the preparation of the data is done, you can navigate again to the visualize pane and the right. In the canvas, go to time underscore ID. Click show by and select quarter instead of month. Alright, click it here. We're going to select a quarter view instead of the month view. We're going to see that's going to completely change our graph and our visualization. You see that the graph changes dramatically. Next, we're going to eliminate this linear trend, these linear trend lines that we have in the graph. So we're going to want to click in the graph, and in the properties section, at the bottom of the page, click the analytics icon. And click in the trend section and remove the. I'm going to turn trend off. Now we can see the graphs without the trend lines. That's how you can toggle trend lines in your graph. Next, we're going to select the product underscore category from the sales history underscore products and add it to the trails column section of the canvas. So add it to the trails, drag and drop to the trails columns. Now you can see our graph changes. You can see a trend on the amount sold and the number of distinct customers by the product category. This allows you to compare the performance of each product. However, using just lines can be a bit messy. So now let's try to make this graph a little bit more appealing. So we're going to select amount sold from the canvas, and then we're going to select keep doing this, amount sold, and then select bar graph. Next, we're going to select workbook properties from the burger menu in the top right. from these three dots. Here's where we can change our color series. We can see that it changes the color of our graph. Just select the one that you prefer and click OK after applying those changes to the color series. Next, we're going to save the workbook. This workbook's now saved. You can share your project by email or social media. You can select this share option in the top right. You can see you can print it. You can export it as a file. You can choose to save your project in a wide variety of standard formats such as PowerPoint, PDF, PNG, CSV, DVA. You can even choose which parts of your project to include, such as all canvases, only the active canvas, or the active visual. So if you select File, you click Save, the file will be downloaded as a PowerPoint on your local machine in this case. If you select print, you can choose which parts of your project to include in the printed output, such as all canvas, only active canvas, the active visual, etc. And these are just, so now you've experienced and we've stepped through creating different data sets in Oracle Analytics Cloud, connecting those data sets together, and then playing around a little bit with those visualizations and different optimizations of those visualizations, all supported because we created a connection between our Oracle Analytics Cloud instance and our Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse. So all the data is supported on the back end by Oracle Autonomous Database. So that's another benefit of using this method here.